Today we're going to talk about some ghosts and a couple of ghost hunter friends of mine. But first, I want to thank you to all of my subscribers. Thanks for all of your comments and suggestions. Sometimes, I'm still kind of slowly getting it together. I still don't have the fancy, thumbnails or anything like that. But I'm hearing you guys. You guys are messaging me, and I appreciate all of your suggestions. So thank you. I'm a little lazy, but I'm going to try to visualize a stronger work ethic for this year. So, a couple of announcements. Recently, I got put on Judge Jerry's YouTube channel. Just recently, I was actually aired on national syndication. I was sued by magician headliner of the Tropicana, Murray Sawchuk from Las Vegas. I was at his engagement party, bent a spoon. Turns out I bent more than one spoon. I didn't realize it. In fact, I only bent a spoon, but sometimes, weird stuff happens. And before I knew it, I was being taken to court TV on the Judge Jerry Springer show. And so you can look that up on Judge Jerry's YouTube channel. And soon I will probably put something up on my own channel. So, just be aware that that's going to happen probably within about a week or so. So we're going to try to figure out how to make that work. But right now it's on my playlist, so you can actually watch the full episode on my playlist here on this channel as well. So meanwhile, what else can I say? I've got a website at themanwhoknows.tv. Okay, that is themanwhoknows.tv. If you Google The Man Who Knows, incidentally, you'll actually see me at the very top of that Google ranking. I know it might not mean much to all of you, but for me, sometimes it's just the little things. Anyway, here's my story today for Real Life Stories of the Impossible. I spoke about Chris Fleming last week, and Chris Fleming was showing me these ghost photographs that apparently weren't doctored by Photoshop or anything like that, but this takes me back to an incident that happened with him, and it's simply that him and I and a comedian named Donnell Rawlings, you may have heard of him, he's only famous, went to a little restaurant bar in Boston at the Sheraton, and we were there for a NACA conference, obviously, National Association of Campus Activities. We're hawking our shows to the university circuit, and so we're just hanging out at the bar. Basically, it's a mentalist, a ghost hunter, and a comedian walk into a bar. And so I asked the ghost hunter, I asked Chris Fleming, hey, you guys are always using these, machines and stuff like that. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on? And with that, and so he literally reaches into his bag and he pulls out a little tiny machine about the size of a cell phone. He calls it the SB7 for Spirit Box number 7. And it's his little product that comes out of, he actually had it built for himself, and he sells it on his website. And basically it's just an AM FM radio that goes forwards and backwards on the AM or FM dial. So it goes in 4 different directions, and it sits on each channel for about like a second or so and moves on, maybe even half of a second. And so it's kind of interesting because he hooks it up to some iPhone speakers and stuff, and suddenly we're in this restaurant and we're listening to this noise kind of sounding like static most of the time, but then it kind of goes into like a sound like shh, 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 and then suddenly it goes blip, some kind of noise. And before we know it, we start asking it questions, and it starts answering us back. And it was interesting. Well, what I find interesting about it is that I actually do have Donnell Rawlings as like a co-witness on this one for me. But I mean, we literally ask it, is there somebody out there who'd like to speak to us? And suddenly the thing goes, shh, shh, yes. And I mean, it really did say yes. And then we ask it a second question. The second question was, well, maybe that was just a coincidence that it sounded like that. So give us like a countdown, give us some numbers. And suddenly it was going shh, 2, shh, 5, shh, 8, shh, 7. And I mean, it was not in sequence, but they were like interesting that it was like actually it spat out like 4 or 5 numbers. And the weird thing is that you can't tell whether it was spitting out the numbers themselves or somebody saying something, and in the middle of them saying something, it sounds like a number. So, and then the next thing you know, Chris Fleming says to Donnell, or points to Donnell and says, "Can you tell us what his name is?" And I'm thinking in my mind at the time, I just remember thinking to myself, there's no way anybody knows Donnell Rawlings in the spirit world. But apparently, this is how powerful Donnell Rawlings is, not just in the comedy world. He literally says, "What is his name?" and points to Donnell. And then the thing goes, "Shh, shh, Don, shh, shh." And I mean, Donnell was, you know, I don't want to like get all like, I feel like he was shook. I feel like he was really shook from that situation. And what was interesting was that the next time I ran into him, I talked to him about that situation, and he acted as though he may not remember it. He kind of sort of remembered it. But I have to say, I mean, and it might have just been because he had a few that evening, and he might not have been in full consciousness mode at that particular time that I spoke to him. It was like 1 a.m. We're in the back of a comedy club. But I'm telling you, this thing actually said what it said. So with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed my real life story of the impossible. There's actually more to that story. And we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we will speak to you guys soon. Looking forward to seeing you at 11:30 a.m. on the Pacific side, 2:30 p.m. on the East Coast side. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if anything weird like that has ever happened to you. If you've ever wondered about those ghost phenomenon machines, lots to talk about with regards to all of that, because, it's commonplace these days almost. You can get that stuff on the internet. All right. Comment, subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this little talk, and go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter. You get a free gift that regards manifestation. So, hope you enjoyed today's show. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.